representing Republicans against marijuana prohibition.
Yes, ma'am.
Testifying for House Bill 3785.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for holding this hearing so much, and the members of the committee for being here tonight. My name is Zoe Russell. I'm testifying for HB 37 on behalf of Republicans Against Marijuana Prohibition, or RAMP. I think this boils down to, some doctors want to recommend marijuana in the state of Texas? I think it's fairly safe to say yes. We've heard some testimony all the same. I've talked to doctors that have told me the same off the record, even on TMA Tuesday. Can doctors be trusted with marijuana? I would again say yes. They're trusted with much more powerful pharmaceutical drugs that lead to overdoses much more easily. We have 0 recorded overdoses from medical marijuana, or any marijuana. Do doctors know everything they need? Do doctors know everything they need to know to recommend marijuana in Texas tomorrow? Maybe some do, probably most don't, but we have 23 other states and a lot of other countries, including Israel, as Dave mentioned, that have used medical marijuana for a long time, and information can travel across state borders and country borders. I've got for y'all, first of all, I've got the first doc is 76% of oncologists responded that they would use marijuana in a certain case study for a patient, so it shows that, yes, there is demand from doctors here. Secondly, I've got a CME, the first CME for marijuana in this country, so the industry's catching up. And then we've got a Society for Cannabis Clinicians that's formed. They've got conferences. I printed out some information about Tikkun Olam. This is the oldest grower in Israel, so you can see they've got a database of how their strains work with patients. And they are doing joint ventures with a Canadian company, for example, right now to transfer that knowledge. So the research is actually there. I can imagine a gastroenterologist wanting to do this for Crohn's disease right now. They have the research for that right now in Texas. So it's up to the doctor in my mind. Do we have perfect dosing? No, there is not perfect dosing with marijuana, but the safety is not as big of a concern. The safety is not a concern. 12 pills a day for a veteran, and they still want to, we're still having suicides. That's not perfect dosing. 20 pills a day for epileptic patients, and they still have 30 seizures a day. That's not perfect dosing. And what happens is you start on the smallest dose, and you increase and you increase and increase. We can do that with marijuana safely, and it would be up to the doctor to decide that. I have a couple notes in there. I don't think that this gets onto the black market. We haven't seen any increase in teenage use rates. 2 comprehensive studies that are in my notes for y'all that show that for medical marijuana states. I think there's more skepticism regarding all the qualifying conditions that we have in this bill. Maybe if y'all have any concerns with that, I would bring them with Representative Marquez, and if we can provide the medical data to convince you of that, then that's fine. If we can't, then maybe we can eliminate it if that's the problem. Obviously, we can agree that a cancer patient and an MS patient are different from someone that stubs their toe, and nobody wants us to be completely wide open for that. Are we waiting on the federal government? Y'all have to tell me that. Is that what we're waiting on? Do we require the federal government to tell us that this is okay? Because that's what it sounds like to me when I talk to some people in this building that seemingly want to pass the buck. FDA is not okay with this. Well, it's a Schedule I drug. Is that really realistic? I mean, Schedule I drug, high potential for abuse, no accepted medical use for treatment in the U.S., and a lack of accepted safety for use under medical supervision. I don't believe that that's accurate, and I think Texans should stand up for our patients. And again, this wouldn't be a mad rush because the medical community in Texas is conservative. They would take their time doctor by doctor to feel comfortable recommending this. They're putting a lot on the line. I will say, if anybody wants to talk to Dr. Eshel Ben Yaakov, he testified in front and was a witness for Representative Miller on his hyperbaric chamber bill. And I talked to him and I reached out to him. He's willing to talk to any of you about how medical marijuana operates in Israel, and I can give you that contact. Just real quick, Texas Tribune shows that 76% of Texans are ready for this. We had a medical marijuana resolution make it through temporary and permanent committee at the state GOP convention. And that's not an easy task, I can tell you. And we had about 40% supporting it on the floor. That's the reddest of the red in Texas, and they were okay with medical. Texas Young Republican Federation, 73% of their members just answered a poll that they support marijuana reform in some way. Those are your block walkers, and so they're there for you with this medical bill. Even at my RAMP event in Lubbock, I had some very sweet older Republican women come to disagree, and that's fine. I was more than happy to have them there. But even they were fine with medical marijuana, even the staunchest people who came strictly to disagree with me. And then real quick, our founder, Ann Lee, couldn't be here today, but I think she's been a real hero in this state on pushing this and making this acceptable, so I just want to give her a shout out. And again, thank you all so much for your time. It boils for me, are there doctors who want to do this in Texas? If there are, I think we know there are, let them. Thank you.
Wow, speed testifier.